了解大温房产，尽在热点聚焦。我是隋红。在大温地产界活跃着这样一群人，他们年富力强，志向高远，时刻关心并参与着大温房产的进程。他们是年轻一代的地产开发商。在9月18日，城市发展研究院 UDI 举办的秋季研讨会结束后，我采访了2位其中的代表人物。对于大温地产走向及人们普遍关心的可负担住房问题，他们分享了各自的观点与乐观的信念。Now we are very happy to have Board Jarvis, Senior Vice President of West Group Properties. Hi, Bo.
Hello.
So with housing affordability becoming a serious issue and people's mortgages are almost to the roof, and the reality that it's getting more and more difficult for young people to save enough for the down payment. So what are some of the solutions to this from a developer's side?
I think that the first sort of idea is really supply and demand, and I think Ju Kim today mentioned it, that when we increase supply to meet demand, prices will basically come into line. And right now we're I would say undersupplied in general, and really it's a supply and demand thing that's tied to affordability. And the reason we are our supply chain sort of runs slowly is just process with cities. We're landlocked. We have all kinds of different urban planning things that we need to adhere to as developers, and it really slows down the process of supplying real estate. I'd say that's the real big sort of ticket that would help tackle affordability. And then on the development side, I mean, I think that there's a lot of developers that are doing interesting new things that are trying to tackle the affordability issue in their own way. There's companies out there that are doing micro suites. There's companies out there that are doing lock-off suites and things like that. So there's the larger family can live in a smaller space. There's a number of initiatives I think that are being sort of I guess initiated by the development community that are trying to tackle this issue. But it's an issue, no doubt, and I think it's more than just the development community. I think it's levels of government, it's the development community, it's the actual general public at large that needs to come to the table to tackle these issues. It's also managing expectations of people, and the expectation is that that this is the way it is. The housing is going to be unreachable for a number of people, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think that we need to all come to the table and address the issue and have a good conversation with all of the stakeholders.
I know West Group is developing the water district, and it's a huge project. Is it a project that that has the vision of offering affordability and also this waterfront luxury life together?
I would say definitely. The River District is an incredibly exciting community. There will eventually be close to 17,000 residents there, and we're just getting ready to build what's referred to as the town square, which is really the anchor of the community, the focal point of the community. It'll have retail amenities and high-rise condominiums and low-rise condominiums with lots of retail and a community center. The River District has lots of opportunities for affordability. There will be city-owned affordable housing sites there, and then we're also developing lots of, I would say, a large profile of different types of units that are going to offer different levels of affordability to people. So people who are, say, a couple that's just married are going to be able to, come in and likely afford one of our one-bedrooms, so call it one-bedroom and den units, and we have downsizers and families perhaps that will be looking for 3 bedrooms. And I would say that the waterfront, I guess, creates a sort of exclusive, some exclusivity to the development in general, but I would say that from an affordability standpoint, it is very affordable as compared to many parts of Vancouver, and we're really excited about that. So.
And how do you envision Vancouver in terms of the housing market?
I guess it's a very diverse housing market. We have lots of foreign buyers, and there's good things and bad things that come with that. But you know, Vancouver is almost right now anyway defined by the housing market, which you know, it's you get into a taxi cab and the taxi driver's talking about the housing market. But I think that over the long term, Vancouver is a wonderful place to live. It's safe, it's clean. We have very stable banking laws and land title laws, and I think that Vancouver and the real estate market, you know, are strong, stable over the long term.
What role do you think that a developer can play in terms of community enhancement and multiculturalism?
But developers, I think, are already making large contributions in that respect. You know, there's developments that are taking into consideration who the buyer profile is, whether you know, it's you know, the developments themselves are multicultural. There are people from Asia, there are people from, you know, all over the world that are coming to Vancouver to live, and they're buying in these developments, and by virtue of that, we're seeing changes in the types of appliances that are in the homes, the types of amenities that are in the buildings, and things like that. And I think that from a community perspective, developers are making incredible contributions. Developers are building daycares, developers are building community centers, developers are building infrastructure for the cities, new sewer systems, water systems, all of that kind of stuff, and I think the public needs to understand that.
Thank you, Paul.
First of all, I think we've got to take it in what the context is. Vancouver is a growing city, and it's becoming an international city. It's getting a lot of awareness in the world, so you know, being voted the most livable city, you know, in the top 3 for the last 10, 15 years. A lot of people want to come here, you know, and if you have traveled the world and you're seeing all the big cities in the world, the ones, Vancouver actually, you know, is much nicer than a lot of them, and a lot of these places, you know, like New York and London, their prices are just as high or even more high in New York and Hong Kong, and you know, part of it is because Vancouver has such a small land base. And we also have a high level of requirements for urban planning and architecture. And what this does is, you know, we are limited in some ways of what we can do in terms of density and form. You know, that's a good and a bad thing because it keeps the quality so high, and that's why everyone come and live here. But in the same time, you know, we cannot go very high in density. So for example, if you look at our density, our heights of our building versus like other international cities, our building is actually quite short. You know. For one, that's I think one of the reasons. I don't say it's the only solution, but you know, densifying is definitely one of the solution. Not to say, you know, but it has to be done, obviously, properly. You know, I think the other solution, not solution, another suggestion I have is, you know, in the development industry, there's a lot that cost that is brought on by the development, which is actually passed on to the purchaser at the end. You know, we have a lot of CACs, community amenity contributions, and development cost levies, you know, for all the infrastructure and whatnot. And I think, you know, there needs to be a more, not such a strict guideline on how it's done. I think we need to take a step back and see what areas of development they are, what infrastructure, what sort of amenities really needs to be done, and how the money is allocated there. It's not just on a per square foot basis, but you know, it's not just only discretionary, but really everyone can publicly see like this area lacks, you know, these amenities, so we need to invest in those amenities. I think that's you know, having better dialogue with regards to that, not just having the people just in the city dictate that, but have a better dialogue with the developers and the community on where the money should be spent and what is fair. I think the other thing that needs to happen is really the 3 forms of government, the federal, provincial, and municipal need to work together and to help alleviate this problem. And I was saying earlier how, you know, Vancouver, I mean, different cities, different municipalities have different needs. Like for example, Vancouver has a high homelessness. Well, it's not because of, you know, the city's not doing a good job. It's because the weather here is so nice. All the homeless people want to come here because it's nicer, it's not so extreme. So hence we have a higher we have a higher homelessness issue, you know, and so that has to be taken into context by not just by the federal and the municipal, you know, and see what really are the needs of the various cities, and really have good dialogue and say, you know, Vancouver needs this, you know, Calgary needs that, or whatever, you know, Edmonton needs that, you know. So that sort of discussion should be having on the high level.
Yeah. I know you've been working very hard to have this have this Little Mountain project going.
Yes.
Yes. So is this the try of your effort to
You know, the project is very interesting. It's a very exciting one. We've been working on it some time, and this is an example of how we are going to have, you know, in a residential neighborhood, traditionally with single-family homes, we're going to densify this area because it's been identified as a place where the density would fit, you know, and it would be very exciting. You know, I'm very excited to prove to everyone that it's going to be the best place to live. You know, you can have all the things you want. You know, all the amenities, livability, and the convenience at your doorstep. You know, so I'm excited, you know, for the project, and hopefully we'll be able to get it through the city soon.
So when is the first phase of the launch?
Right now we are in the, I guess, the lineup, you know, to go to council. We have to resolve some things when it comes to the CAC contribution, but we, you know, foresee that we'll be brought to council early next year. So, you know, maybe in the summer or fall of next year, that's when we will break ground for the first phase of residential. Yeah.
So my last question: how do you envision Vancouver, the Greater Vancouver area, in terms of the housing market?
I think, you know, Vancouver is, like I said, it's going to be a bigger city. We're going, and the land is so locked and so limited. We're going to continue to see densification around the transit hubs, you know. And I think in the future it will not just be, you know, like downtown will not just be the only place people live, work, and play. You know, we'll have small, like little mini cities, you know, that will have all the amenities that you know that people can actually live, work, and play in the same area, so they can save on commute times, and you know they can do what I guess Vancouverites and British Columbians like to do, is the outdoors. So they have more time for their family, more time for themselves. I think that's going to be, you know, that's going to be the trend going forward, and. You know, going downtown might be just like a novelty. We just do it on a weekend. You know, we're gonna have some fun, go downtown, kind of thing. But you can actually live and work and play in those certain small pockets of a little city. You know.